After 50 years of marriage, a husband leaves his wife for a 20-year-old woman, and what his ex-wife did to him is heartbreaking. Hello, welcome, like, subscribe and turn on notifications. Serena stood at the door of her house trying to understand how her 50-year marriage had come to an end. What is going on here? We had been married for 50 years, and we dedicated ourselves to living a relationship full of love, affection, honesty, and fidelity. What could I have done wrong for him to abandon me for a woman who was only 20 years old? Serena cried as she drank some fennel tea to try to balance her thoughts. Was I rude to him, or was I not cooking well? He wanted to have 3 sons, and I gave him 5 sons as he wanted. I was always faithful. I never cheated on him, and I forgave all his mistakes during these 50 years of marriage. Serena continued drinking her tea while crying bitterly over what had happened a few minutes ago. Lucio Flavio, Serena's husband, had arrived home after a weekend away from work. Even though he was 70 years old, he managed his companies personally, which meant he had to travel constantly. However, Lucio never went alone. He always took his secretary, a shy young woman of only 20 years old, who had angelic eyes and a gorgeous body, as well as wonderful blonde hair that caught everyone's attention. Serena, his wife, had no idea about his travels because, given her age, she would never have imagined that a woman of only 20 with the face of an angel would be capable of such a feat. As soon as he got home, Lucio called his wife to talk. Serena thought he was very serious and that something must have happened at work. She had just made him a delicious dinner, just the way he always liked it. "What's wrong, my love? Why are you looking so serious? Are our children okay? Did something happen at work that made you so depressed?" "Well, whatever it is, there's nothing that a delicious dinner, made by me, can't help improve," Serena said. "Serena, can you shut up for a moment?" Lucius said. Serena was startled by her husband's way of speaking, because in 50 years of marriage, he had never changed his tone of voice to her. And Serena sat motionless on the sofa next to her husband. "Lucia, please tell me what happened?" Then Lucio began to speak, but he didn't beat around the bush. "Serena, I have fallen in love with Bianca, and we plan to get married. I know she is very young, but she is a good person with a big heart. So I thought a lot and made this decision. But it's not something drastic because she and I have been together in a relationship that is unfair to all of us for almost a year," said Lucio. "A relationship that is unfair to all of us," said Serena. "How can you say that this relationship between a 70-year-old married man with 5 children and a millionaire is unfair to all of us? You and I have been married for 50 years. I have never cheated on you, and I have forgiven all your betrayals throughout my life, because even though you are a conqueror, you have always considered these extramarital relationships just for fun. And now you come and tell me that your affair with that young lady is unfair to all of us? You have got to be kidding me," said Serena with tears in her eyes. "Try to understand, Serena. Our marriage ended a long time ago. We've both just been living a life of indifference for a few years now. I know we've been happy, but unfortunately in life nothing lasts forever, and you need to understand that. And even if you don't accept it, I've already made my decision. It's over and we're going to separate because I'm going to marry Bianca." Serena was stunned by her husband's words. "It must be some kind of joke. It has to be, because that young lady is old enough to be his granddaughter. Everyone told me that you can't tell the heart by looking at the face. She wants to scam you. Have some respect, Lucio. She's deceiving you like some others you've met throughout your life. Soon she'll take all your money and your companies and leave you in the lurch, with nothing to show for it," said Serena, outraged by her husband's attitude. However, Lucio got up and went to their room and started packing his bags. Serena followed him to the room and saw that her husband was not joking. She was crying softly, leaning against the door, but Lucio did not care about any of Serena's tears. "Listen, Serena, I may seem like a cruel and cold man to you, but I'm doing this for the good of all of us, because I want you to find happiness, even if it's far from me. Goodbye." Lucio had left, taking all his things to live with Bianca. Serena was inconsolable and went to her kitchen to prepare some tea to calm down. Serena started to remember all the good times she had with Lucio, because 50 years together is not the same as 50 days. They met as teenagers in high school. Serena was a shy girl from a wealthy family, and Lucio was the son of the cleaning lady who studied at the same school due to a scholarship that his mother had obtained. He was constantly criticized by all his classmates, as his clothes were donated and some were even sewn by his mother. His books were used and quite worn due to other students having used them. Even so, Lucius stood out among everyone else, as his grades were the best. The teachers were proud of Lucius and were absolutely certain that he would have an unparalleled future. However, Serena was one of the people who made fun of Lucius at school. She was a real spoiled brat, spoiled and quite arrogant, and because of that Serena thought she was superior to everything and everyone. Whenever Lucius arrived, she would laugh and talk badly about him quietly to her friends and classmates, but Lucius just swallowed it all dry, because he knew he couldn't miss the opportunity his mother got for him at that school, because he was one of the best, if not the best in the city. Serena was a great student, but she never came close to Lucius's skills and dedication. As time went by, Serena began to like her classmate less and less, but fate would bring them together forever, or at least for the next 50 years. One day, Serena left school late because she was participating in the science fair, which was worth her final grade. Serena's driver hadn't arrived to pick her up yet, so she decided to walk home alone. But Serena regretted this decision, because a man followed her and on the way back she noticed it. Serena tried to quicken her pace, but the man was faster than her and caught up with him. "What's the hurry, my sweetie? Let's talk a little," said the man. Serena was desperate and screamed for help, but before she could finish her call for help, the criminal fell to the ground unconscious, and behind him was Lucio, shaking all over and afraid of having taken the man's life. Serena looked at Lucio and she never imagined that he would save her from such a degrading situation. Serena saw the man unconscious on the ground and hugged Lucio, who was as scared as Serena. Due to his cry for help, the police were called by some local residents, and the officers arrived at the scene. And to Lucio's happiness, the man was only unconscious. The two young men were taken to the police station only to give statements. Serena's parents and Lucio's mother arrived at the scene. The young girl's parents were amazed at the young man's courage and were eternally grateful for Lucius's courage in saving Serena. Lucius's mother was distraught, as he was her only son, but he was fine and a hero now. Young Serena, only 18 years old, was delighted and grateful for what Lucius did for her. "Lucio, please forgive me for everything I did to you. I know I didn't respect you and mistreated you for months, but now I feel extremely bad about my behavior and I promise that I will make amends with you one day, my hero," Serena said and approached Lucio, kissing his cheek. Lucio turned red and didn't know what to say to Serena, but before she left the police station with her parents, Lucio said, "I would do it again. Anything to protect you, Serena. Have a good night." Serena smiled and left with her parents. From that day on, they became inseparable friends. Serena's parents, despite being extremely rich, adored the boy for his humility, dedication, and courage. They checked and found out that Lucio was the best student in school, with great behavior, good grades, and a wonderful mother who was a true example of a woman. So they hired Denise, Lucio's mother, to work for them as his personal secretary. Denise was extremely happy for the opportunity given to her by Serena's parents, as it would give her the best conditions to give an even better life to her beloved son. Over time, Serena and Lucio began dating, much to the surprise of all their classmates, but they began to respect and treat Lucio better. Lucio and Serena both graduated in business administration, and Lucio soon became the manager of Serena's family business. Her parents trusted Lucio completely, as he had tripled the family fortune in a very short time. The young couple got married when they were only 20 years old, before they even graduated from college, but the whole family was happy with their union. Lucio and Serena had a wonderful life. His dream was to have 3 sons, but he didn't mind if he had daughters too. However, Serena got pregnant 5 times, and each time she had a boy. Lucio always loved and spoiled her. He was an excellent father and husband. But over time, Lucio began to be a womanizer and have extra affairs outside of marriage. The first time Serena found out, they almost got divorced, but she forgave him. Even so, Lucio continued to have affairs outside of his marriage. Serena blamed herself, but her mother always told her, "Daughter, don't worry about your husband's silly affairs, because Lucio treats her well, provides everything for her home, is an excellent father and a good man." Serena's mother was an old-fashioned woman who put up with her husband's betrayals as if it were normal. And unfortunately, she taught this to Serena, who began to accept her husband's betrayals as something normal. Years passed, and the couple lived very happily this way, as there was no problem for them. They celebrated 50 years of marriage together, but their children noticed that Lucio did not seem to be as happy in his marriage, but they thought it was just a matter of age, as both Lucio and Serena were 70 years old. Besides, 50 years together was a long time, as few marriages last that long. So everyone thought this marriage would last forever, especially Serena. One day, Lucio was hiring a new secretary, as his current secretary, a 65-year-old woman, was about to retire, and he couldn't be left without someone in the position. He personally interviewed several candidates because in addition to having to choose someone with good recommendations and qualifications, he needed to feel a sense of urgency for the person, since they would be working together for a long time, including traveling. It was then, at the end of the afternoon, after interviewing several candidates, that Bianca appeared, an extremely beautiful and captivating woman. She had such sweet eyes that the angels would be jealous. Her body was phenomenal. Her perfume was delicate and pleasant to smell. The young woman was only 20 years old and had already graduated from college, as she was very intelligent and dedicated. In addition, her resume was impeccable, as she had some professional experience. Lucio was enchanted by the young woman and hired her immediately. Bianca was extremely happy to have gotten a job at that big company. However, Bianca had the face of an angel, but that didn't mean she was one. Bianca was the daughter of a humble family. Her father abandoned her mother to live with another woman. Bianca's mother treated her daughter very badly, as she blamed Bianca for her husband leaving. Bianca only saw one alternative for her life: to study hard. But she grew up and became a beautiful woman. Because of this, she noticed that men were fascinated by her and would do anything for her attention. Gifts, money, expensive clothes and shoes, men would do anything for her. But she did nothing for them because she thought that no man was good enough, just like her father. Over time, Bianca's mother fell ill. Although her mother never treated her daughter well, Bianca loved her and understood why her mother had been like that. Even though she could not forgive her, Bianca took care of her old mother. Since Bianca could get whatever she wanted from any man, without making the slightest effort and without giving up her honor, she was able to take good care of her mother with the best doctors and treatments. However, Bianca wanted more and more. And one day, she saw the news about Lucio and Serena's 50th wedding anniversary party, as the wealthy couple was well known in high society. Then Bianca began to think, what if I were this Lucio's wife? Everyone does everything for me. He would be no exception. I am young, beautiful, intelligent, dedicated, and everything else. So I deserve more and more from life, Bianca thought. I think I found the perfect husband for me, Mom. Bianca's mother couldn't speak. She just sat in her wheelchair or in her bed being cared for by the nurses. And as soon as Bianca left, her mother shed a tear. Oh my God, what have I done? My sweet daughter has turned into a monster because of me. Please, God, make a miracle happen so that my sweet Bianca can go back to being the good girl she always was, thought Bianca's mother. Bianca planned everything carefully, because Lucio was a big fish and she couldn't make any mistakes in her game of seduction. Although she was sure that she wouldn't have to do anything to win him over, she wanted to be sure that it would work. Bianca worked hard and passed all the selection stages at Lucio's company, until she reached the final stage of the interview. and she realized that she really didn't need to try so hard to win him over, because Lucio was immediately captivated by the young 20-year-old girl. Whenever he traveled, Lucio made sure to take Bianca with him, but she didn't work. She just had fun, and Lucio loved being that way about her. He learned about his mother's health problems and did everything he could to get the doctors to find the best treatments for the woman. However, Bianca wanted more. She wanted to be Lucio's wife, and since he was madly in love with her, he couldn't help but want to marry a beautiful woman like her. "Lucio, I know I'm only 20 years old. I'm too young for you. Everyone will say I'm a gold digger and all that, but I don't just want an adventure or your money, because as you saw, I myself, with my effort and honest work, can support myself well and give my beloved mother a decent life. But I can't just be your entertainment. Either you take me as your wife, or I'd rather quit and forget we ever lived through this," Bianca said seriously. Then Lucius said he would fix it all. And that was how Lucius and Serena ended their 50-year marriage. Serena still had hope that Lucius would come to his senses, but not even his children could convince the man otherwise. They divorced, but Serena kept her mansion and half of the assets. Lucio kept part of the companies and a lot of money too. As time went by, Serena accepted the divorce and began to travel and have fun around the world, enjoying the best that life had to offer. Her children supported their mother and were completely against Lucio's decision. Bianca began to live the life of a queen, the life she always felt she deserved to have. Her mother was undergoing very expensive treatments paid for by Lucio, and over time she regained her body movement and speech. However, she did not get involved in her daughter's relationship and let life take care of everything, because she was sure how it would end. Bianca married Lucio, and thus she began to have control over his assets as well. However, she began to spend money uncontrollably. Parties, expensive trips, designer clothes, extremely expensive shoes and bags. The sky was not the limit for Bianca, and this was her biggest mistake, as she underestimated life, which quickly gave her change. Lucio's money started to run out, and the millionaire started to live a normal life. The companies he was managing were still profitable, but something happened to make things worse. Lucio was diagnosed with a terminal illness. He began to undergo treatment and be followed by expensive doctors, and the best treatments were recommended. Even so, Lucio was wasting away and began to become bedridden. Her children had not heard from their father for 5 years, as he had disappeared with Bianca so as not to be criticized. Bianca's mother, Roberta, took care of Lucio, but at one point he had to be hospitalized, as he would have to be closely monitored by doctors. Bianca began to notice that Lucio's money was running out, and she looked at her mother and said, "He's no longer of any use to me, Mom. We'd better go and leave him there. He's being well looked after at the hospital, and he still has some money. I'm young, full of life, healthy and beautiful. So obviously I'm not going to spend the rest of my life taking care of an old man," Bianca said. "You are just like, if not worse than, your father. That's exactly what he did to me. My money ran out and we became poor, but you don't remember because you were too young. And he left with another woman who was prettier, younger, and richer. He probably did the same to her. And now I'm seeing history repeating itself. You're worse than him. Go away and don't come back, because you're not my daughter anymore." Bianca couldn't believe what her mother had told her, so she packed her things and left. Time passed and Serena was in her mansion making a wonderful lunch, as she loved to cook for her family on Sundays when they came to visit her. Then the doorbell rang, and an unexpected guest was at the door. "Hello, Serena. How are you? My name is Roberta, and I am the mother of the woman who destroyed her marriage." Serena was perplexed by the woman standing at her door, but she asked what she wanted. "We need to talk about Lucio, her ex-husband." Roberta told Serena everything, from what her daughter had planned to how her husband was bedridden. "I don't have the financial means to take care of Lucio, but I can help take care of him, because thanks to him who paid for my treatments, I can feel well and alive again. I owe him an eternal debt of gratitude. I just came here to ask for your help, because he's broke, without a penny. I work to support us both, because my daughter was a monster and left never to return. And I know how you feel, Serena, or if you felt, because I was also abandoned by Bianca's father. He left me poor and without a penny, just like my daughter left her ex-husband," said Roberta. The women talked for a long time, and Roberta asked if she could count on Serena's help to take care of Lucio. Serena then thought and remembered when Lucio risked his life to save her, when they were both just teenagers. He risked everything for her that day and said he would do it again. And Serena remembered that she would repay Lucio's courage for his heroic act. "Roberta, my dear, I don't hold a grudge against Lucio. On the contrary, I still love him very much. He is the father of my children and he saved my life. If it weren't for him, only God knows what would have happened to me in the past. He still owns my heart, and I forgave him a long time ago. Come on, let's get this old bastard back to his home." So Lucius returned to his old house, and his children helped take care of their father, although they were all married and had children too. But the house was huge, and they went to stay there so that he could feel the human warmth of a close-knit family. Serena invited Roberta to live there with them, as she had given up her life for a few years to help take care of Lucio alone. In addition, Bianca had abandoned her. Serena paid for the best doctors and the best treatments were provided. Lucio was already 75 years old, but he improved 70% thanks to the person he abandoned in his life in tears. "Why did you help me, Serena?" The answer is simple: you were always by my side. When I was cruel to you in school, I already loved you, but I couldn't accept that I was in love with a humble boy. And you saved my life, so this is my way of being. Welcome back home, Lucius. But I hope you learned your lesson. Lucius cried in regret for all the times he cheated on Serena with other women, but he had a true queen at home. The couple lived happily. Their children forgave Lucio for what he had done to their mother, and life got back on track. And once again, as in the past, Lucio tripled the family fortune. But one day, Roberta, Bianca's mother, who was living a calm and peaceful life with her new family, received a phone call. So she went to talk to Lucio and Serena because she had to leave. The couple understood Roberta's reasons. So the old woman left, but before that, Serena gave her a large sum of money because she was going to need it. Far away, in a public hospital, Roberta sat next to a hospital bed and said, "I will take care of you, my princess. I will be the mother I never was to you." It turns out that the call Roberta received was from a public hospital. Bianca had suffered a serious accident, and her rich husband abandoned her because he was young and did not want to take care of a bedridden woman. Bianca cried when she saw her mother and hugged her, asking for forgiveness for everything. I hope you enjoyed the story. Like, comment, and share. Thanks for watching.